Welcome to English period. Today we are going to discuss notes on Animal Farm, Chapter 1. In Chapter 1, Orwell introduces the main characters and the novel and the different roles that they play. First, note the setting of the chapter. The setting of the chapter is Manor Farm. Here we get introduced to the character Mr. Jones, who is the owner of Manor Farm, and we see him falling asleep in a drunken state, and later on the animals they meet in the big barn at the request of old Major. So here Mr. Jones is seen to be a very neglectful, harsh, thoughtless kind of person who forgets to even shut the pop holes. And here he represents Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, who ruled from 1894 to 1917. Thus, the character of Mr. Jones is portrayed as a self-obsessed, self-absorbed human who appears to be more like an animal than the animal themselves. Also, to note that the very name Jones, which is a very common name, suggests that he is like many other humans, and the tyranny of all mankind is an important theme of Old Major's speech that you're going to read in the later part of the chapter. Here we get introduced to another important character of the novel, Old Major, who is seen only in chapter 1. Old Major is an old white boar or pig who delivers a rousing political speech about the evils inflicted upon them by their human keepers and their need to rebel against the tyranny of man. Old Major here represents Karl Marx, who wrote the Communist Manifesto, described how the working classes would need to have a revolution and died before the revolution happened. Interestingly, in the novel as well, Old Major, he too wants freedom and equality for the animals. He doesn't see the rebellion happening, and his vision of animalism actually never happens. In chapter 1, we see all the animals they meet in the barn for the meeting called by Old Major. As the animals assemble in the barn, we get introduced to many of the major characters of the novel. Major, we have already discussed, is quite old and wise. Clover is generous and sympathetic. Boxer is strong but not at all intelligent. Benjamin is found to be cynical. Molly, vain and childish. So we see all these characters get they are introduced here in chapter 1, but they become more pronounced and we get to know more about these characters as the novel proceeds. Here we find that all the animals they attend the meeting in the barn except Moses the raven. Now Moses acts as an allegory for the Russian Orthodox Church, which was banned in the early days of Bolshevism. And now we come to the most important aspect of chapter number 1, which is Old Major's speech. Through his speech, Old Major, he mentions his dream, he passes on his wisdom, and again he returns to his dream. And as you read his speech and discuss, please note the rhetorical devices, the persuasive language used by Old Major. As Old Major addresses his audience as comrades, he ingratiates himself to his listeners as one who has reached a certain degree of wisdom in his long life of 12 years and who actually views the other animals as equal. Old Major, he stresses on the fact that the earth could be a paradise if the tyranny of man was overthrown. He, in fact, presents his fellow animals as victims of oppression and incapable of any wrongdoing. In a way, he tells them that it was time for revolution, as he tells the listeners, remove man from the scene, and the root cause of hunger and overwork is abolished forever. We see that Marx's theory of communism also said that the working classes would need to have a revolution. Old Major then gives them a precept or the seven commandments, which would actually guide the animals and help them to determine their comrades. The seven commandments are: whatever goes upon two legs is an enemy, whatever goes upon four legs or has wings is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes, no animal shall sleep in a bed, no animal shall drink alcohol, no animal shall kill any other animal, and all animals are equal. These commandments, we see they appear in chapter 1, and at the end of chapter 2, one of these commandments is broken after the rebellion happens. And by the end of the novel, all these commandments are entirely destroyed. Please note that this particular statement, whatever goes upon two legs is an enemy, whatever goes upon four legs or has wings is a friend, is a key part of the underlying principle of animalism. Just to give a better idea of what is animalism, Napoleon, Snowball, and Squealer, the three pigs, they develop Old Major's idea that animals have a right to freedom and equality into a complete system of thought. You will read more about it in chapter 2, and they call this as animalism. The central beliefs of animalism are expressed in the seven commandments painted on the wall of the big barn later. The use of a song to stir the mass is an old political move, and Old Major, he tells the animals about his dream and decides to teach the animals a song called Beasts of England. The song describes a world similar to Old Major's dream and a place where the animals are in control. This song, The Beasts of England, ultimately becomes an anthem of revolution for the animals. It speaks of a golden future time. It describes a day when all animals would overcome their tormentors, and it also reflects one of the novel's main themes, that language can be used as a weapon and means of manipulation. At the end of the chapter, what happens? As Old Major teaches the animals the song Beasts of England, the animals, they sing the song repeatedly until Jones was awakened, and he fires his gun from his bedroom window thinking that there was a fox in the yard, and this frightened the animals, and they dispersed and went to sleep. Thus, this reaffirms the fact that Jones is an aggressive leader who reacts to any disruption of his comfort with the threat of violence. Here's the chapter highlights. Jones returns to the farm in a drunken state, forgetting his responsibility towards the animals, and goes to sleep. Old Major calls for a meeting in the barn. All the animals gather for the meeting except Moses the raven. Old Major speaks of his dream. He addresses the gathering as comrades. He speaks of the tyranny of man. He emphasizes that it's the time to rebel as man is their only enemy. He comes up with the seven commandments later regarded as the principles of animalism. Old Major teaches them the song Beasts of England, which later becomes their anthem after the rebellion. Jones wakes up, hearing the noise coming from the barn. He fires his gun, assuming there's a fox in the yard. Hope you have liked this video tutorial, and if you have liked it, please do not forget to share your views in the comment section. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel, The English Period. Stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.